Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Lady Scientist Podcast. This is a special episode because I don't have a guest with me for this week. I've been taking a little bit of a break from doing interviews and working on the podcast. There's quite a bit that's involved behind the scenes. So typically, I'm scheduling guests, I do some background research on them and put together questions that sometimes we talk about beforehand and sometimes we kind of just go with the flow. Once they're on the show, I usually let the conversation just go wherever it goes. Sometimes we end up talking for hours, which was the case with Amal's interview, and I was a little bummed to have to shorten it so much, but I'm trying to keep the episodes around an hour long. So I hope you guys have been enjoying the interviews that we have shared so far. My goal really is to bring you into conversations with these scientists, these amazing lady scientists. I did want to clarify that I do plan on interviewing uh, not just lady scientists over time, but I wanted to get the ball rolling with some of these amazing women that I sometimes know and sometimes don't know. And I think the interviews I've done with folks that I hadn't met previously, such as Casey Kraft from Benchling, those are often even more fun for me because I'm really kind of discovering who this person is right alongside you guys. Um, for the podcast, we love your support. This is really just Jeff and I doing this on our own time. He put together the website, and we now have links for all the episodes there. You can find links to Spotify, Apple, our YouTube channel, which I really like having the video component. I hope you guys have been enjoying that as well. I think it's nice to see people's faces and see their expressions and with our reduction in FaceTime right now, it's kind of a nice way to hear about different people's experiences. We also now have a newsletter. So if you're on the website, ladyscientistpodcast.com, there's a button to sign up for our newsletter. And this is actually really important for creators of content to be able to email out to a list of folks that follow the show. So if you are into the podcast, please head over, sign up for our newsletter. I'll be sharing more direct letters with you guys and updates and sometimes some kind of background behind the scenes info with you. We also have a Patreon account. This is a typical way that podcasters collect support. So currently we have a $3 a month option. And I'll be sending out swag for folks who sign up on the Patreon. I have t-shirts, so you can send me your t-shirt size. We also have coffee cups and some neck bandanas. I know a lot of people are doing like the double mask thing now, so you could have your N95 on with your neck bandana over the top to support the podcast. Yes, and that's all kind of boring stuff, and I hate doing the marketing, but if you guys can share, or if you anyways, my computer just died mid-sentence. If you have suggestions for folks you want to see on the show, I love, hearing from people and learning about people who might be good on the podcast. It is a little interesting. Like I get a lot of suggestions, but then I think some people feel intimidated, which it is an intimidating process. But just know that I'm new to it too, and we're all learning. And it's, once we record the interview, we go through 2 rounds of edits together. And so if there's anything you felt awkward about, oh, I didn't like how that came out, we can always edit it out. So it's really, it's a fun process. And I think hopefully more folks will be open to being on the show. And I've got your back. I'll make sure it's fun. And we get to talk about cool science, and not just cool science, but some of the creative aspects of this industry that I think go unheard about. So we had Danny Berge in our very first episode. She's a scientific illustrator now for a company called Cognition, and she works on all kinds of really cool animations that help other people understand science and understand what we do. So I think that's super important. We were also hoping to have Raven the Science Maven, who, if you don't know of her, she's kind of this awesome YouTube, Twitter phenomenon. And she also launched her own science-themed fashion company called Smarty Pants Gear, which I love. There's like dresses with the periodic table, but she also has these like crazy over the knee glitter boots, which if you know anything about my sense of style, I'm like all over it. So I had a lot of fun ideas planned for that episode, but she's finishing up her dissertation now, which I totally understand. It's kind of a crazy time in any scientist's life when you're trying to like push through those final couple of months and just buckle down and focus and finish writing your dissertation, which in my case, I went to Wisconsin for a month and that was all I did. And it ended up being, 200 some pages long. So totally understand that she wasn't able to join us at this point in time, but hopefully in the future, because I think it's fun to highlight how there are these creative souls who come into this field and they have, all of these kind of unique facets to them. And I think it's great to kind of uplift and cherish those aspects of ourselves. So she was on a podcast recently, Ologies, it's called, by Allie Ward, and talks about her first scientific poster session where she thought, okay, my advisors told me to put together this poster, and she goes to the craft store and puts like glitter and like feathers and all kinds of stuff all over the poster, and her advisor was completely freaked out, like, oh my god, you can't present this. And she went ahead and presented it anyways and ended up winning an award for her poster. So she shares stories like that on this interview with Allie Ward on Ologies. I really recommend you go check it out. I have scheduled a guest in a couple of weeks, Caitlyn Vanderweel, who I heard about her through the neuroscience community. There's this whole like neuroscience on Twitter kind of community, and so I started following her a while back. And she now has launched her own scientific communications company. And so she's also, an interesting person. She hasn't gone the like conventional route with her degree, and I'm excited to talk to her about that and share that with you guys. So that's kind of what's all in the works. Any of your support is really welcome and helps me keep going, because this is kind of takes up a lot of my time in the background. And so and there has been a bit of a lull here as I work on building a biotech company, which is my day job. So I've been a little bit busy in the lab actually, and building a lab and helping build a new company, which has been really fun. So hopefully new episode in a couple of weeks with Caitlyn. I can't wait to share, and follow us on all the platforms. And lastly, if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a 5-star review. It kind of helps us stay up in the charts or whatever. I don't know how it all works, but that's what I'm supposed to say. So thank you so much for your support and for listening.